Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about love languages, but with an aspec twist. Before we jump into that, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel, which just hit 6,000 subscribers this week. Make sure that you've got those notifications turned on, and if anything that we discuss here resonates with you, be sure to drop it in the comments. And just last week, my debut book, Limitless, Poetry of an Aromantic and Asexual Journey, hit store shelves and online distributors. The reviews on Goodreads have been absolutely incredible. It's close to 300 copies sold already, and I cannot thank you all enough. If you haven't checked it out yet, there's links in the description where you can get your hands on a copy of Limitless today, as well as reading the Goodread reviews. If you did read it already, you can add a review of your own and tell me in the comments which poems or lines meant the most to you. And lastly, a special thank you to everyone who stopped by my book signing event last week at Word Haven Bookhouse in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and to their incredible staff. I had an amazing time. It was so wonderful getting to meet so many of you in person, and I cannot wait to host another event in the future. Now, with all that said, though, let's get into today's discussion on love languages. Now, odds are you've heard someone say something about their love language. They might have said something about their cooking is their love language, or making music, or writing. It's about the way people give and receive love. Unfortunately, the world often tries to tell aromantic and asexual people that love is something that we lack. But we all know that couldn't be further from the truth. Love comes in so many forms, and today I want to explore how aspec folks experience and express love through different love languages. So let's get right into it. So if you haven't heard of love languages before, there's 5 common categories. The first is words of affirmation, expressing love through words, encouragement, and appreciation. Then there's acts of service, showing love by doing things for others. Then there's giving and receiving gifts, feeling love through thoughtful presence. We have quality time, valuing shared experiences and undivided attention. And finally, physical touch, feeling connected through hugs, cuddles, or other forms of physical affection. These are usually talked about in the context of romantic relationships, but love languages apply to all kinds of connections. To friendships, to family, to community, even to self-love. And that's where the aspec perspective is especially valuable. Aspec folks, whether aromantic, asexual, or maybe even on both spectrums, often have deep, meaningful relationships, just not in the ways that society expects. So let's break down each of those 5 categories of love languages and look at how those might look for us. First up is words of affirmation. For many aspec folks, words hold a lot of power. A simple, I appreciate you, I love having you in my life, or you matter to me. Those can mean everything. Sometimes, because our relationships don't fit traditional molds, just hearing that we're valued, just as we are, is incredibly affirming. People also tend to develop unique ways of communicating love through words, like inside jokes, supportive texts, or even just acknowledging each other's presence in ways that feel natural to us. The key is authenticity, words that genuinely convey care and appreciation. Next is acts of service. This could be helping a friend move, making someone's favorite food, or just checking in when they're having a rough time. Showing up for someone speaks volumes, especially when you know they care about support over sentiment. This love language can be particularly meaningful for aspec folks because many of us build strong, chosen families. When society doesn't always prioritize non-romantic relationships, taking the time to help each other out can feel like a powerful affirmation of love. Thirdly is probably my favorite nowadays, receiving and especially giving gifts. It's not about expensive things either. Sometimes it's about a friend remembering your favorite snack, or sending you a meme that made them think of you, or making something personalized. For some aspec folks, gifts can be a tangible way to remind them that they're loved. I've found that gifts can also be tied to shared experiences, like a memento that reminds you both of an event you attended together, or a book that you think someone would love. It's about thoughtfulness, not about price tags. Even better, you don't always know in the moment just how special that gift might wind up being. My friend Steph still talks about one gift I gave her years ago. We had similar kinds of tastes in music back in high school, so for her 16th birthday, I burned her a CD. For those who have never done that before, it's basically putting a blank CD in your computer and it'll copy the song files onto it. The album I burned for her was Transatlanticism by Death Cab for Cutie. That was the first time she'd heard them, and now we're in our mid-30s and they're still one of her favorite bands. Made all the better by the fact that she now lives in Death Cab's home state. Life's funny sometimes that way. So you never quite know how much of an impression your gift may have on someone's life, including the gift of just being there. And that directly goes into the next love language, quality time. Aspec folks often build strong bonds through shared experiences and activities. Gaming, book clubs, deep conversation, coexisting in a comfortable silence. The presence of being around someone who gets you and enjoys just being around you can be the most meaningful form of love. Quality time doesn't have to be elaborate. You don't even actually have to be in the same room with the person. Whether it's watching a movie together, taking a walk, or even just texting consistently can be a powerful way to maintain strong connections. One slogan I see sometimes on clothing online in the aromantic or asexual flag colors says, Netflix and actually chill. Honestly, it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as it's meaningful to you and the folks that you're sharing that time with. That's all that really matters. Making time for each other, however that looks. And finally, we have the last category, physical touch. This one varies a lot in the aspec community. Some folks love platonic cuddles, leaning on a friend's shoulder or linking arms. Others aren't that big on touch, and that's perfectly fine. The key is respecting each other's comfort levels and boundaries. Some aspec folks have found alternative ways to express this love language, like weighted blankets, sensory-friendly touch, or even non-physical gestures that create a similar feeling of connection, like mirroring body language or offering a grounding presence without actual contact. I know at a later age, this one gets a little more complicated, as friends have other types of relationships. When I was in high school, physical touch as a love language for me was usually cuddling on the couch, watching Twilight, or binging 90s sitcoms with my friends. My friend group was mostly girls, but it wasn't a big deal. But by the time I got to college, all of the girlfriends that I had went to other campuses. And at that age, I felt too uncomfortable to try any of that with the new girlfriends that I made. Of the 5 love languages, this one is probably the hardest for me to talk about nowadays because I miss having that. Most of my friends are married now, so a movie night and cuddling is out of the question. Even if they'd be okay with it, even if their husbands hypothetically wouldn't mind, I wouldn't feel right about it. I miss the days when I could just hold hands with a friend as we watched Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or Mean Girls like we used to. But maybe I'll find something like that again. Or maybe I'll find something new, something different, some other way to express it. You know, different or new, they don't always have to mean bad. Sometimes I think it's just hard for us to remember that, but it is true. Just like accepting my identity was new and different, I found amazing things because of it. I found other ways to love, and I don't know, maybe I'm not done discovering just yet. One of the biggest myths about being aspec is that we're missing out on love. The reality? We experience love in so many ways, through our friendships, our communities, our passions. Love isn't just romance or sex. It's connection, it's care, it's chosen bonds. For some, love can be found in quiet companionships. For others, it's in creative collaborations or shared experiences, or even the simple joy of existing alongside people who make our lives better. Another important aspect that I want to touch on is self-love. Aspec folks, like everyone else, need to nurture their own well-being. Taking time for hobbies, setting healthy boundaries, and affirming your own identity can all be ways of practicing self-love. After all, understanding and honoring your own needs makes it easier to connect with others in meaningful ways. So if you're Aspec and ever feel like the world is telling you that you're missing something, I want you to remember, you define love for yourself. Your relationships are valid. Your ways of expressing love are meaningful. And you don't have to fit anyone else's mold. What are your love languages? And how do you express love in ways that are entirely your own? Drop it in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video out if you found it helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.